Listen, hold still for a second. Feel that silence? That wasn't absence. That was attention locking on to you. You didn't shout. You didn't posture. You didn't announce anything to the crowd. You made a move so clean, so precise, so mathematically calm that the noise cut itself off. And in that quiet, the kind of eyes that don't blink leaned forward, not fans, not haters, architects. The kind of minds that don't chase chaos, they harvest it. Somewhere between servers humming and timelines folding, Elon Musk paused. Somewhere behind a wall of data and denial, Mark Zuckerberg noticed the anomaly. Not because you begged to be seen, but because what you did disturbed the pattern. Here's the paradox they don't teach you. Saints don't move markets, and psychopaths don't build empires alone. You learn to stand in the seam between them. You learn to be gentle enough to pass the gate and ruthless enough to redesign it once inside. That's why your move didn't look loud. Loud is for amateurs. Loud attracts guards. Clean attracts curators. You didn't break the rules, you revealed them. And the moment you did, the system felt watched. You think power announces itself? No power recognizes. It recognizes the way you waited while they rushed, the way you absorbed losses without leaking identity. The way pain didn't make you brittle, it made you accurate. They felt the accuracy. Accuracy terrifies people who live off hype. Accuracy terrifies platforms that feed on attention, but fear intention. You didn't go viral, you went inevitable. You were the angel when silence was required, listening, learning, letting them underestimate you. And you were the demon when timing mattered, cutting clean, leaving no fingerprints, no apology. That duality isn't confusion, it's camouflage. You learned when to glow and when to disappear. You learned that unpredictability isn't chaos, it's leverage. Predictable minds can be modeled, you can't. That's why the graphs kinked. That's why dashboards flickered. That's why someone up there asked, what changed? Pain trained you for this. Every closed door taught you hinge mechanics. Every betrayal taught you traffic flow. Every night you stared at the ceiling taught you restraint. You didn't harden, you sharpened. And sharpening looks invisible until the cut is finished. That's what they felt. A finished cut. Clean, bloodless, undeniable. You didn't need their approval. You didn't need their mention. Attention found you because you aligned something deeper than clout. Signal. Signal travels through silence. Signal wakes sleepers. Signal makes rooms colder because people sense a future they didn't plan for. You became signal the day you stopped performing and started placing. Understand this. When minds like theirs notice, it isn't admiration, it's calibration. They're measuring whether you bend, whether you echo, whether you can be absorbed. And the answer unsettles them because you don't echo. You refract. You take what hits you and return something unfamiliar. That unfamiliarity is the threat, not your size, not your speed, your angle. So keep it clean, keep it quiet. Keep letting the saint open doors and the psychopath decide which rooms never get rebuilt. Let them watch, let them wonder, let them run simulations that never quite fit. You weren't lost, you weren't late, you were loading, and now the system knows it. Don't mistake their attention for invitation. Attention is a test. It's the pause before gravity decides whether you orbit or collapse inward. And you, look at you. You didn't speed up when you felt it. You slowed down. You let the heat pass. You let the watchers assume you were still. Stillness is terrifying to people who only understand momentum. Stillness means control. You've lived both sides long enough to know the trick. The light is for access. The dark is for execution. You smiled when it bought you time. You went quiet when it bought you truth. You learned how to be harmless in the room and catastrophic in the plan. That's why your move didn't come with a victory lap. It came with a shift. A shift is harder to undo. A shift makes denial expensive. They replay it, you know, over and over. They zoom in on the moment where nothing happened, because that's where everything happened. The moment you didn't react the way profiles predicted. The moment your decision tree branched somewhere models don't go. You didn't zig or zag. You stepped through the assumptions, through the incentives, through the noise they thought would herd you. That's what makes them uneasy. You're not optimizing for applause. You're optimizing for outcomes. Here's the dirty secret of power. It respects pain that learned, pain that didn't turn bitter, pain that didn't leak. You carried it like ballast, not baggage. You let it keep you low when storms came, and steady when the seas lied. Most people use suffering to justify being loud. You used it to justify being precise. Precision is cold. Precision is patient. Precision is why your move looked simple. Simple is what survives scrutiny. You became fluent in contradictions, kind without being weak, merciless without being sloppy, visible without being traceable. That's the seam where influence lives. That's why your name didn't trend, but your effect did. That's why rooms changed temperature without anyone saying yours out loud. When the room changes temperature, someone felt something move. And don't get it twisted. This isn't about tech gods or titans. It's about the mirror you held up to the system and the way it flinched. Systems flinch when someone shows them a path they can't monetize, can't sandbox, can't neutralize with policy. You didn't threaten them. You invalidated an assumption. Assumptions are sacred to empires. You're learning the higher game now. The one where wins look boring and losses look instructive. The one where you don't rush to explain yourself because explanation is an anchor. Let them misread you. Let them call it luck. Let them say you stumbled into it. Every mislabel buys you time. Time is the only currency that compounds without permission. And here's the part they won't admit even to themselves. They're checking if you're loyal to outcomes or to approval. Loyal to outcomes is dangerous. Loyal to approval is safe. You chose outcomes. You chose the long curve. You chose the move that doesn't glow, but endures. Endurance scares people who live quarter to quarter. So keep walking the line they can't see. Keep letting the angel pass security and the demon close the deal. Keep being unpredictable without being chaotic. Keep turning pain into calibration and silence into leverage. You don't need to announce the next move. You already taught them what announcement looks like. It's the moment the graphs hesitate and the room goes quiet again. Stay clean. Stay unreadable. Let attention follow you like a shadow that can't quite catch up. You didn't make a loud move. You made a true one. And true moves echo in places applause never reaches. There's a deeper layer to this that only reveals itself when you stop craving confirmation, when you stop refreshing the page, when you stop looking over your shoulder to see who noticed. That's when the real weight settles in. Because attention at that altitude doesn't come with applause. It comes with risk. The risk that you won't behave the way the story needs you to. The risk that you won't stay inside the lane they quietly prepared. You felt that moment, didn't you? The subtle pressure to clarify, to explain yourself, to package what you did into something digestible. That's the trap. Clarification is where sharp things get dulled. You resisted it. You let ambiguity breathe. Ambiguity is oxygen for power. It forces other people to fill the gaps with their own fear, their own projection, their own math. And fear does half the work for you. You've learned that dominance doesn't always look like expansion. Sometimes it looks like compression, fewer words, fewer moves, less surface area. You made yourself smaller on the outside so you could become heavier on the inside. That's why when you step, the floor listens. That's why your silence reads louder than their campaigns. You're not competing for attention anymore. You're competing for gravity. Gravity doesn't chase, it pulls. It bends trajectories without permission. People don't realize they're adjusting course until they're already somewhere else. That's what your move did. It didn't confront. It redirected. You changed where the river flows, not how loud it splashes. Rivers don't argue. Rivers arrive. You're standing in that old contradiction again, the one that forged you, to be seen without being owned, to be influential without being absorbed, to be powerful without becoming predictable. Most break here. They mistake recognition for safety. They relax. They start signaling. You didn't. You tightened the loop. You asked better questions. You watched who leaned in and who leaned back. Information is always leaking. You just learned how to hear it drip. And the pain, don't think it's done with you. Pain never leaves. It graduates. It stops trying to break you and starts trying to educate you. It sharpens your instincts. It teaches you when to wait an extra beat. When to let someone finish talking so they revealed the thing they didn't mean to say. Pain made you fluent in subtext. Subtext is where the real negotiations happen. You've crossed into a strange calm now. A calm that scares people who feed on chaos. You don't flinch when stakes rise. You don't rush when time compresses. You learned how to breathe in rooms where everyone else is holding theirs. That calm isn't softness. It's a signal that you've already run the worst-case scenario and found it survivable. Once the worst case loses its teeth, fear loses its leash. They're trying to map you, but the map keeps changing because you're not reacting. You're choosing. Choosing when to engage. Choosing when to vanish. Choosing when to let someone underestimate you one more time, because the interest compounds. Underestimation is a loan you let other people take out against themselves. So don't rush the reveal. Don't rush the scale. Don't rush the story. Stories are cages. Let your work remain difficult to summarize. Let your intent stay slippery. Let the angel keep the doors open and the demon keep the ledger balanced. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be effective. Remember this when the silence returns, and it will. Silence always returns after attention spikes. That's not rejection, that's digestion. Systems need time to process what they can't immediately neutralize. Let them chew. Let them debate. Let them disagree about what you are. Every disagreement is proof you didn't fit the mold. You didn't make a move to be crowned. You made a move to reposition the board. And boards don't announce when they shift. They just change what's possible next. Stay exact. Stay unreadable. Stay loyal to outcomes over optics. The rest will keep circling, trying to decide whether you're an anomaly or a direction. You already know the answer. And here's the part you don't say out loud, not even to yourself, because naming it would cheapen it. You're no longer surprised by resistance. You expect it. Resistance is how the world checks whether a change is cosmetic or structural. Cosmetic changes get applause. Structural changes get friction. You felt the friction and didn't flinch. That's how you knew it was real. You've reached the phase where the move after the move matters more than the move itself, where patience becomes a weapon sharper than speed. Speed is impressive, Patience is terrifying. Patience tells everyone watching that you're not hungry. You're certain. Hungry people lunge. Certain people wait. Waiting rewires rooms. It makes others talk too much, spend too fast, promise what they can't deliver. You let them, you learn the difference between visibility and legibility. Visibility gets you noticed. Legibility gets you controlled. You stayed visible just enough to register and illegible enough to remain sovereign. That balance is rare. Most tilt one way and pay the price. You didn't. You learned to look obvious while staying opaque. Opaque is freedom. There's a reason your presence changes conversations, even when you're not speaking. People sense when someone has already died to the outcomes they fear. You've already grieved versions of yourself that would have folded here. That's why threats don't land the same. Threats need attachment to work. You cut that cord quietly, a long time ago, when pain taught you that clinging is heavier than letting go. You carry that calm now, the kind that unnerves performative confidence. Performers need reactions. You don't. You don't need to win every exchange. You're playing a longer game where losses are data and silence is strategy. You let others mistake your restraint for hesitation. Hesitation bleeds. Restraint bleeds others. And yes, they'll try to frame you. They always do. Frame you as lucky. Frame you as derivative. Frame you as temporary. Frames are cages disguised as compliments. You step around them without arguing. Arguing validates the frame. You validate results. Results dissolve frames. Notice how you've stopped asking for permission without making a show of it. That's evolution. That's the saint shedding the need to be seen as good, and the demon shedding the need to be seen as feared. You don't need either costume now. You wear competence. Competence doesn't beg. Competence doesn't threaten. Competence arrives. There will be moments soon, quiet ones, where you'll be offered shortcuts dressed as alliances, access with strings, scale with conditions, exposure with edits. This is where your earlier pain pays dividends. You can smell the strings. You can hear the edits before they're made. You can feel when scale costs you sovereignty. You'll say no without drama, no without explanation. No is a complete sentence when your work already speaks. You're learning the most dangerous posture of all, non-reactive intent. You're intentional without being brittle, flexible without being porous. You bend without breaking, because you're not anchored to ego. You're anchored to direction. Direction doesn't need validation. Direction just keeps moving. So when the next silence hits, and it will, don't fill it. Let it thicken. Let it do its work. Silence is where systems confess. Silence is where patterns slip. Silence is where the next clean move becomes obvious because everything else looks noisy by comparison. You didn't climb into this moment by force. You earned it by subtraction, by removing desperation, by removing noise, by removing the need to be understood. What's left is sharp, quiet, and difficult to stop. Stay there. Not loud, not visible, unavoidable. You're starting to notice how the world rearranges itself around people who don't chase permission. Chairs shift. Language softens. Timelines stretch. Not because you demanded it, but because you no longer need it. Need is loud. Need leaks. Need makes you readable. You moved past need the day you realized survival taught you more than approval ever could. What you carry now isn't confidence. Confidence can crack. What you carry is orientation. You know which way is forward, even when the lights go out. Even when the rules change mid-game. Even when the people who smiled yesterday start speaking in codes today. Orientation means you don't spin when the compass lies. You feel north in your bones. This is why pressure doesn't rush you anymore. Pressure is just information arriving faster. You learned how to slow time under stress. You learned how to hear the quiet click beneath the chaos. The moment when a situation locks into place and reveals its hinge. Most people panic at that sound. You wait for it. Hinges are where doors stop pretending to be walls. You're also learning something dangerous about morality. It's a costume people wear to avoid responsibility. You took yours off, not to become cruel, but to become exact. Exactness scares people who survive on ambiguity and vibes. Exactness demands follow-through. Exactness exposes who's been bluffing. When you speak now, it's not to be liked, it's to land. And notice this, how fewer words are doing more work, how your pauses are carrying weight, how silence after you speak stretches a second longer than it used to. That stretch is respect, mixed with uncertainty. Uncertainty is leverage. Leverage isn't domination, it's optionality. Optionality is freedom. You've crossed the line where validation stops being fuel and starts being friction. Compliments slow you down now. So do criticisms. Both try to pin you to a narrative. You let them slide off. You're not here to defend an image. You're here to compound. Compound what? Decisions, habits, positioning, small clean moves stacked without spectacle. You stopped mistaking motion for progress. You stopped confusing activity with direction. You learned that the sharpest progress looks boring until it suddenly isn't. Until people wake up and realize the distance is already gone. There's a loneliness here. Let's not pretend otherwise. Not the loud loneliness of rejection, the quiet one of divergence. The loneliness of realizing fewer people can follow your thinking now. Fewer can keep up without simplifying you. You don't resent it, you accept it. Altitude thins the air. That's not punishment, that's physics. You're also aware now that power tests you by offering you comfort. Comfort whispers, you've done enough. Comfort invites you to coast. You don't hate comfort, but you don't kneel to it. You visit, you don't move in. You know stagnation wears velvet gloves. So when confusion ripples through the room again, when the temperature drops and the chatter misfires, don't explain yourself. Don't perform reassurance. Let them feel it. Let them sit with the fact that something has shifted and they can't name it. Naming gives control. Unnamed things grow. You're not unpredictable because you're erratic. You're unpredictable because you're principled in a way that doesn't announce itself. Your principles aren't slogans, they're constraints. Constraints make creativity lethal. Anyone can do anything. Very few can do one thing consistently without leaking ego. Keep choosing restraint over reaction. Keep choosing timing over speed. Keep choosing silence over spectacle. You're not hiding, you're positioning. And positioning is what turns a single clean move into a sequence nobody can interrupt. The board already changed. The room already felt it. And whether they admit it or not, they're adjusting around you now. Stay exact, stay calm, stay unfinished. The next move will arrive the same way the last one did. Quiet, undeniable, and impossible to reverse.